Brandon, question for you. Why did Solo Leveling get an anime and not other really good manhwas? If you didn't know, I'm a professional in the Webtoon space. I have like 5+ serializations ongoing at the same time. This is what I do for a living. So why Solo Leveling? Because Solo Leveling arguably is a very good series. However, there are other series that are better, maybe have better numbers, better art, better story, etc. Why are those not getting adaptations? Now, there have only been a few manhwa that have managed to go from Webtoon series to animation and transcend just like the scrolling medium. So stuff like God of High School, Noblesse, Tower of God, recently Lookism, which is a Korean production going on to Netflix. So there are actually not a lot of Webtoon adaptations to animation. There's a lot to live action. Sweet Home is a good example. All of Us Are Dead as well. Those are all made by the Korean entertainment space. So Solo Leveling is interesting because it's actually made by a Japanese production. They're actually changing the main character to a Japanese character, which is kind of weird to me, but different video for a different time. Now, the Webtoon space is very new. It's a newer space, but it's growing at a rapid rate, right? So in 2021, the valuation of the Webtoon market was actually around 3.7 billion, and now it's projected to reach over 50 billion by 2030, which is absolutely bonkers. The reason for this is partially because of the scaling of Webtoon applications, but also because intellectual properties like Solo Leveling, like Lore Olympus, some of them are just getting massive. And the ways that they get even more massive is by scaling outside of just Webtoons. We see this a lot in the manga industry, right? Chainsaw Man, Naruto, Jujutsu Kaisen Spy Family. What drives a lot of sales to the paperbacks, to reading the actual manga, the comics, are these massive animation productions like Demon Slayer, etc. that just make buku bucks. Back to Solo Leveling. Why did Solo Leveling get chosen to be an adaptation? Well, there's a lot of factors that go into it. Obviously, it has a massive readership, cult-like, I would argue. People think action manhwa, they actually think Solo Leveling. It's just like, has pioneered the system fantasy manhwa space, right? So I think it makes sense that it would be one of the first manhwa to move beyond just Webtoon series. However, everyone in the Webtoon space is looking to take their intellectual properties off of just Webtoons, the platform. Webtoon has just opened up its own studio. Tapas has just opened up its own studio. All these companies are looking to pitch stories on their platform to go outside of the platform, to Netflix, to HBO, to all these other, streamers, to scale their properties. And that's why the Webtoon industry, in my opinion, is going to increase in value to that $50 billion mark that we're thinking about in 2030. So why Solo Leveling? It was just early to the game. It was one of the early players and therefore was at the forefront of this adaptation race. I think that we're going to be seeing a lot more adaptations in the near future. Lots of them have already been greenlit, and we just don't know about them because obviously it takes years and years for that production to be even announced and finished. So hopefully that answered your question. You can follow for more, read my projects in my bio link.